Be sure to go to flipsidegaming.com and use promo code 6 for 10% off on orders over $10. You can do the same at the Grizzly Gentleman for some fantastic beard products that'll make your beard look and smell great. You can also go to TCG Player using the affiliate link below and shop there to help support the show. And last but absolutely not least, go to greyvikinggames.com with the link below to get those sweet arena codes. Hey, what's up nerds? Justin aka 6 back with Magic news. I mean, I saw this and I felt I had to actually comment on it because it's kind of doing something that I wanted them to do, and that is they're making some changes to the creature types. Now, cool Construct Gear is coming to Magic Arena on December 12th. That's legit cool. I think that's awesome. But we're continuously reviewing our card catalog, finding ways to update games, language, and visual representation with the process, care, and sensitivity built into modern sets. Some people are going to say, "Oh no, Magic is going woke." I don't think that's the case here, and I have actual explanations for why. As such, to make our game as inclusive, welcoming as possible. So this is the thing that people are going to take away and be like, "Oh no, Magic is getting woke. It's changing for the beta liberal cooks." They're making a few changes, essentially to their language for some cards, just to make them match kind of what Magic has been doing for a few years now. So first thing first is they're removing the cat subtype from Rakshasas. That includes the Mahadi, which is a devil Rakshasa, just because it's a D&D character. Now, first thing is I'm going to legit talk about this, and one of the things, and I'm bringing this up from the Reddit where I saw this, is an individual here was raised as Hindu, and essentially, and I looked this up before I went to the comments here, essentially Rakshasa, sometimes they have tiger masks, but really they're just kind of humanoid monsters that can shapeshift. Now, what's interesting here is that Wizards isn't changing them to shapeshifters, even though technically that would be more lore accurate to actual Rakshasas, but I think it's fine just having them be normal freaking demons. I think that's and devil in this case. I think that's totally fine. Going through it, it doesn't affect much. Jetmir's not getting changed because Jetmir's literally a cat demon. He's not a Rakshasa, but it's just what came in when I searched this. Right, so we're not really changing all that much. If you're playing a cat deck, you're probably not playing, I guess maybe you're playing black sometimes, but I feel like usually it'll be red, white, and green. Those are the main colors. You're definitely not playing blue, right? These aren't taking anything away from cat decks, really. I think this change is totally reasonable. It meshes with the lore a little bit better. Legit, if you look at the Wikipedia, and I'm sure some people who were raised Hindu or know more about Hinduism can go more. This is meant to be a tiger mask, and it says that sometimes they'll look like tigers, but it's not just that. They're weird vampire-y things and stuff like that. So I think this is a totally reasonable change. I don't think anyone's going to. Any normal people are going to care. Apologies, my dog is very needy right now. You're okay, Luna. Yeah, I think this is totally reasonable. I would like to see them change to shapeshifters. I do think that'd be kind of cool, because then instead of being, kind of dead in cat tribal, they get to be alive in all tribal if they decide to give them shapeshifter and changeling. I don't think, not all shapeshifters have changeling because you have things like clones. But I think everything with changeling is a shapeshifter. I could look, but who cares? And the second is, where are you? Naga. Snake will replace Naga as a subtype. This one, I was a little bit more confused about, right? Because the Naga, as depicted, and it's still Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism, because the Tarkir group, the Sultai, were based on that kind of Southeast Asia area that had a lot of Hinduism, Buddhism, and Jainism. So, I can see why they decided to use Nagas, but I've talked at length on both videos and live streams about how I feel that Wizards is too stingy with their creature types. I think creatures should have more creature types as opposed to fewer. Regardless, they're deciding to get rid of Naga completely, and honestly, I think it's fine, and here's why. When else are they going to do Nagas, right? Nagas are very kind of specific to this genre. I mean, there are other Nagas in, like, crap. There are what we would call Nagas in Greek mythology, which are called Lamia instead, I want to say, even though in a different mythology, Lamia are different. I'm trying to remember all of the different mythologies and things like that. But I legitimately don't think that this is due to, and they don't say, like, definitively why. Like, they're not saying they're removing cats because they're shapeshifters, like, to be more accurate or to be, like, I don't think it's to be more sensitive. Because, like, I mean, they are Nagas, right? As depicted from Tarkir and Amonkhet, they are Nagas. But at the same time, right, like, there is no Naga tribal. Like, none of, I double checked, there's no card that references Naga for, like, lord reasons, right? So, in terms of gameplay, it's going to just be better. Snakes are going to get more cards to choose from, snake tribal decks, and Nagas are now going to get those benefits from those snake tribal decks. I would have been fine if they kept Naga, but, you know, I thought about it, we don't need it. That's the thing, we just don't need Nagas in the game. By name, at least, right? Like, these, they're still gonna look like fucking Nagas, but these also look like, the new Kamigawa snakes, I think? Except the Kamigawa snakes still have 4 arms, if I remember. I don't remember correctly. All I know is the Kamigawa snakes changed. But yeah, I legitimately don't think that this is too big of an issue, and I think it's a win. I think the Naga change, at least, is a gameplay mechanical win, and removing cat from these is, you know, a lore win. Apparently, the whole cat thing was in like OG D&D, and it's talked a little bit more about on the subreddit. But in OG D&D, the Rakshasa were like shapeshifters, but at some point in D&D, they just decided, we're just gonna make them cats. And then the whole backward hand thing apparently isn't also super, what's the word I'm looking for? Super ingrained in the lore, the true lore, I don't know what I would call that. The beliefs. So again, I just don't see this. I mean, it's affecting very few cards. We can get more Rakshasa in the future, because Rakshasa is a cool name, and it is. Like, Naga and Rakshasa both sound cooler than snake person and demon person, right? Or I guess just demon. But it would be cool to see these be shapeshifters, because then I think then you actually have more room to use Rakshasa. And another reason that I don't think this is like a sensitivity thing is we have angels, and like, I mean, obviously a lot of religions have demons, but like, we have like biblical angels. They're not, you know, the meme biblical accurate. I can't speak human words. But like, we have angels, right? And that's very much a, I'm trying to remember if Islam, no, I think they have angels. It's the Abrahamic religion, I'm pretty sure, is like the angel religion, right? I can't for what it's worth, I can't think of like any other specific examples, but I legitimately don't think this is because, oh no, we're not allowed to touch Hinduism because it's like a live religion. Like, generally speaking, people aren't going to care too much about quote unquote dead religions. I know that there are some individuals who in one way or another practice Norse mythology. The Norse religion, I don't remember what it's called, is the thing. But, you know, quote unquote dead religions. Like, we have things like that. We have things in Theros that reference actual mythological figures. We have in King Kaldheim characters that reference actual like Norse figures. So I legitimately don't think this is like a live or dead religion reason. I legitimately think that most of this part that I'm talking about is just to make things either more lore accurate or, in the case of Nagas, more gameplay accurate. And then the last thing is Umbra armor. So these things, people I can see making more of a fuss about, but I still think it's fine. So Umbra armor is replacing totem armor. I didn't pull up all the totem armor things because I don't think it actually matters. And then Kindred will replace tribal as a card type. I think both of these changes are good. We're still going to be using tribal to describe groups of creature types for a long time. I have seen a lot of people, and I don't think they're doing it like specifically in order to change the language, but I have seen a lot of people start using typal to describe things, and we might, because of this change, we might start seeing we're never using like kins or like snake kindred. I don't think we're ever using that as the name, but I've seen a lot of people start using typal. You know, it's whatever. I can understand why tribal, there is a lot of connotation, especially here in the West, about, you know, what tribes are and mean. Often it is associated with American Indians, Native Americans, First Peoples, different, I'm using these different terms because different people like different terms, so. Oh no, I'm a soy boy. No, you know, be respectful to people, like, it's not hard. it really is not. But so there is that, and usually it's associated as well with kind of uncivilizedness, savagery, things like that, that just aren't, they're not fair, right? So I can see them wanting to just not have that as a card type. I don't think they're going to, I don't think at any point Wizards is going to, on high, say, hey, stop using tribal, start using kindred to describe creature types, or start using typal to describe creature types. I think in general, people are still going to call it like Merfolk tribal. And when the thing is, when it's using that kind of connotation, I think it's a lot better. I think it makes more sense to use tribal there than it does with tribal as a card type. And I can't really elucidate. I can't explain why I feel that way. But then I keep wanting to say umbral armor, but umbral armor replacing totem armor just makes sense. You know, screw it. Oh. I think it's this. Armor? Hey, I know how to use this. So, you know, totem, again, is kind of a Western, has the Western connotation. I don't know if it has connotation elsewhere. That could be problematic. Oh no, he said problematic. He's a swing away. Look, I like referencing it because it's just funny and ridiculous to me. Sorry. But yeah, totem armor, like, it has specific connotations to the peoples of America, and not just, no, the Americas. Yeah. Again, I was correct. But this doesn't even evoke what most people know as totems, right? And for what it's worth, totems can also be like, gosh, what are they? Like, just little symbols, similar to like holy symbols for clerics in D&D. They can be like that as well. You know, it's a different, kind of definition for it. But when I think of this, right, this is like a projected image, right, or an uber shadow, right, and that works with Umbra better, in my opinion, right? Like, these people are not being protected by totems. They're being protected by essentially an outer layer, an outer animal shadow layer, right? And I think it just works. I think it works. I think it's good. I will say I wish it was called umbral armor, because the L into the A is a lot easier to say, whereas going from an A into another A is not as easy to say. You know, totem armor, right? Umbra armor is much harder to say than umbral armor, right? So I do kind of wish that this was umbral, but who cares? It's not too big of a deal. And hey, maybe people will say, hey, maybe this should just be umbral because it's easier to say. Who knows? I think all of these changes are fine. Yeah, they're all for slightly different reasons. You're going to see some people who are like, no, they're changing magic and making it different. Like, it affects so little. Like, the number of totem armor cards, so few. The number of Naga cards, so few. The number of Rakshasas specifically is minuscule, right? Like, this is fine. I welcome these changes. I think it is kind of cool that why is it on Shorts recording? Yeah, whatever. Yeah, no, I think it's fun. I hope you do too. Let me know what you think about these changes. If you are kind of in the area that, if you're in a situation in which you know more about the religions that utilize Rakshasa and Naga, and or are those who have, I guess, tribe or totems as more of a part of your culture. I kind of what you think about this, right? Because I'm very curious to see that aspect of it, but I honestly don't think Wizards is doing it purely for that reason, if that makes any sense. Yeah, let me know. Hope you've enjoyed this weird random news video. Look, these things are much easier to smack out. Yeah. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, subscribe, all the good nonsense, and until next time, I'll be